हेलो, हेलो। हाँ, आई एम सेंडिंग इट। आई एम सेंडिंग इट। इट्स अपलोडिंग मैडम। हाँ, इट्स अपलोडिंग। अभी हो ही रहा है। हो ही रहा है। हो रहा है कि नहीं चेक करती हूँ मैडम। ओके। नहीं, यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू शेयर स्क्रीन ही बता रहे हैं मुझे अभी। एनीवे, ये अभी अपलोड हो रहा है। थोड़ा अभी नेट का प्रॉब्लम, लेकिन हो रहा है। इट विल गेट। मैडम, आई थिंक पीपीटी आपके पास आ गया। मेरे पास दिखा रहा है इट्स रीच्ड यू। हेलो। हाँ मैडम, आप। हाँ, हाँ। तो आप ही रन कर दीजिए, क्योंकि ये मुझे नहीं दिखा रहा है, दे रहे हैं, अलाउ नहीं कर रहा है। हाँ, स्क्रीन दिख रहा है मैडम आपका। हाँ, दिख रही है।
Hello, ma'am.
हेलो, यस, यस। हाँ मैडम, बोलिए। आई एम हियर। हाँ, हेलो। वी कैन स्टार्ट मैडम, वी कैन स्टार्ट। मेरी वॉइस क्लियर आ रही है, अनब्रोकन? ओके, ओके, देन लेट अस बिगिन मैडम, वी कैन स्टार्ट। थैंक यू।
Yeah. Is it audible? Yeah. Jai Swaminarayan. With the blessings of Paramapuja Shastri Swami Prem Swarup Das Ji, founder and president of Sri Swaminarayan University, Paramapuja Swami Bhaktavatsal Das Ji, vice president Sri Swaminarayan University, Paramapuja Swami Bhaktinandan Das Ji, vice president Sri Swaminarayan University, under the supervision and guidance of Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. M.S. Rao sir and Dean Faculty of Ayurveda Professor Dr. Rohit Gokarn sir, on account of Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, we organized a webinar on prevention of CA of cervix. We are fortunate to have eminent guest speaker Professor Dr. Manjusha Karkare, HOD, Prasuti Tantra Streeroga Department, Parul Institute of Ayurveda. I cordially welcome Madam. I
Thank you
cordially
so much,
welcome
madam. Thank
Professor
you.
Dr. Manjusha Karkare. Also, it's very important part of the webinar is audience. A very warm welcome to all our audience. Thank you. Over to Dr. Mauli.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jamuna Devi, madam. At the outset, let me thank the office bearers of the Swaminarayan Institute for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to Jamuna Devi, madam, for having me as a speaker, and to Dr. Mauli also for thinking of me as the choice for the guest speaker for this very important topic that we are going to discuss today. I'm also very grateful to the our managing trustee Komal Patel madam, our dean of Ayurveda Dr. Toshi Khane sir, and our principal Dr. Kulkarni sir, who always gives us opportunity to be present as speakers and to represent our institute at various levels. So with this short thanks, I would like to get on with our topic. So this very important topic, like Dr. Moli said today, that it is the entire month has been dedicated to creating an awareness. And so I guess all the students who are here, PG and UG scholars and whoever are watching online, they may be aware, as Dr. Moli said right now, that January has been declared to be the month for creating the awareness amongst women for cervical cancer. Since we are all students of Ayurveda and we are in the medical field, we are grossly aware of what a cancer is. But let us just take a brief review of what happens exactly in the body. And today's topic is the prevention of cancer of cervix. And that is basically because it is such a cancer which, if caught early, can save the lives of many women. And it is easily possible to do it. Just we need a very high awareness and alertness index. So next, can we have the next slide? uh, as we know that the cancer cells, normal cells, generally divide to form new cells, and when they get old or they die. But sometimes this process of the old cells dying and the new cells taking over, it goes haywire. The body doesn't act in the normal way, and new cells are extra buildup of new tissues forms up, and that causes the growth of a tumor. That is generally what we call as the cancer. Next slide. In the what is exactly happening in the cancer cells? This In the cancer cells, the DNA of the cell, it mutates. The normal pattern of the or sequence of the protein in the DNA, it goes abnormal. That there is a change in the sequence, and because of this, the cancer cells start dividing at a very unregulated pace, and they grow into the tumor. The growth may go on at such a huge space that it may gradually invade the other parts of the body as well. So it is very essential to know that we should catch this thing in the early stage. Next slide, please. Now, what is this cancer? This cancer, as we said, it is a many a times it is mediated by the genes. But is there nothing in our hand? If I'm born with a bad gene, do I have to suffer from it? No, that is not so, because genetics is a part of the thing. Genetics makes you prone for the cancer, but Will the gene express itself or will it stay suppressed? That is decided totally and to a lot of extent by the individual choice, lifestyle choices that a person makes and the environment that he subjects himself to. So, lifestyle or the charya, which plays a very, very important part in triggering these abnormal genes to act and promote this abnormal growth. Next slide, please. Cervical cancer. Now, what is that? Cervix, as we all know, is a part of the it is a part of the uterus, the lowermost part of the uterus, and cervical cancers is referred to that mention this cancer, which is the tumor arising from the cells of the cervix of the uterus, which is the part of the female reproductive organ. Next slide, please. Now, why is the cervical cancer important? Now, cervical cancer all over the world. Can you look at these statistics? India has almost 27%, that is more than one fourth of the cervical cancer cases diagnosed in the new cancer cases diagnosed worldwide come from India. And almost 20, not almost, more than quarter of the women dying due to cervical cancer in the entire world, one fourth of them are coming from India. So this is the burden that the country has to bear, the family has to bear, the society has to bear. The woman going out of action is a handicap for the society, it's a handicap for the family, and ultimately to the society. So that is the burden that we are facing with. Next slide, please. As you can see from the slide, the amongst the many of the cancers that affect women, especially in India, of all ages, the cervix uterus is the highest one. So, and the next one is only the breast cancer, which is 16%, 10% lesser than the cervix of the uterus. So you can see the vyapti and the magnitude of the problem is such, intensity and magnitude, both of this is very high. Can we have the, I think we skipped the one slide. Can you just skip, go to the, yeah. This was the one I was talking about, the comparison that the cervical cancer is the major killer or the major incidence of cancer among women happens in the cervix of the uterus. So can we have the next one? Now, let us get acquainted with a few terminologies which we may be using. Biopsy, carcinoma in situ. What? Can we have the next slide? Next slide, please. Yes, please. Biopsy. A few terminologies I'm going to come up with. The removal of a small sample for a tissue examination under the microscope is called as the biopsy. What does it do? It helps us to identify the abnormal cells that are beginning to grow in that place and the extent to which that the problem has taken place or the extent to which it has grown. And the carcinoma in situ, that is another terminology which we need to acquaint ourselves with, is that the cancer is confined to the cells in which it originated. It has not still spread to the other tissues. So next slide. Can we have the next slide? And a few more things that we need to know are the colposcopy, the dysplasia. These are the terminologies which we will be dealing with them in the later part of the presentation. But we need to know that colposcopy is one of the important diagnostic techniques that we use for screening these women and to catch this problem at an early stage. Now, what is dysplasia? We know this problem of dys. We are acquainted with dysmenorrhea. So this is something that is apart from the normal. So dysplasia, plasia is abnormal growth. So abnormal cellular changes that have a tendency to get cancerous. They are not already cancerous, but they are showing the tendency to become cancerous. That is dysplasia. Okay, next slide, please. We can have this next slide. Now, taking just a look at this, you are all acquainted with the anatomy, but let me just introduce you to this very, very vital area of the cervix called as the portio vaginalis. Now, cervix, as we all know, is divided into the endocervix and the ectocervix. The outer part of the cervix, which is exposed into the vagina, which is exposed outside, is called as the ectocervix. And this is the place where the majority of the problem starts growing. Next slide, madam. Now, just take a look at how the normal cervix appears when we do a per speculum examination. So, how are we going to prevent this thing? How are we going to prevent cancer? We can do this by being a very good observer. We have to observe whenever we are doing the per speculum and a per vaginal examination. We have to have an alert eye and be able to discern the difference between the normal and the abnormal, at least have a high suspicion index, and do the screening very aggressively. Screening, that is the keyword. Let me repeat it again. This is going to come again and again in my presentation, because that is the only way in which we can truly actually catch this cancer at an early stage. Can we have the next one? Next slide, please. Yes. Now look at this. This is the way the you have earlier seen the normal cervix. Now this is just a pictorial representation of how the cancer starts and spreads. So it's this. It will starting will happen at the ectocervix, and slowly it will be spreading upwards, downwards, and laterally also. So that will be the next stage. In the next stages, that is how the cancer is going to spread. Can we have the next slide? This is how it will appear when it is in the advanced stage, or it has gone beyond the stages of CIN1 and CI2, CIN1 and CIN2. So this appearance, if you are seeing in the per speculum examination, you should be immediately suspicious and should go for the screening properly. Next slide, please. Now, what are the main causes? Human papilloma virus is the main virus which has been said to be the cause of 90% of all the cervical cancers. The virus became very famous when we were dealing with this COVID. And similarly, we have this picture of the HPV virus, which is said to be the cause, which triggers these cancerous changes in the human body. Can we have the next slide? Now, who are at risk? What we need to understand is that for preventing cancer, the risk factors have to be avoided, and we have to aggressively screen people who are having this high risk behavior. Now, the risk factors include, like I said, the human papilloma virus. It has almost 150 types, but only few types among them are important while causing the cancer. The HPV 16, 18, these are the ones which are more prone, or which are more culprit while creating the cancers. And there are some other HPV strains also, but they may not be causing the cervical cancer, but can result in the formation of anogenital warts, etc. Let us take a look now what other things are taking the movement towards cancer. The sexual behavior. Now, the HPV is the virus which is sexually transmitted. So high risk sexual behavior, which includes having multiple partners, unprotected sexual intercourse, early exposure to the sexual intercourse, all these are making the woman prone for this cervical cancer. So this male partner may be taking this HPV from one partner, and if he is in a tendency of having multiple partners, he may pass it on to his next one. So having preventing and avoiding such high risk sexual behavior is in your hands, in the hands of the patient, and they need to be young girls, women need to be counseled about this, about safe sexual practices. That is one way we can prevent it. Smoking is the factor which is known to cause so many cancers. We are very well aware that smoking causes the cancer of the mouth, but smoking creates an